A truck loaded with thousands of copies of Roget's Thesaurus crashed yesterday after losing its entire load. Witnesses were stunned, startled, aghast, taken aback, stupefied, confused, shocked, rattled, paralyzed, dazed, bewildered, mixed up, surprised, awed, dumbfounded, nonplussed, flabbergasted, astounded, amazed, confounded, astonished, overwhelmed, horrified, numbed, speechless, and perplexed. Stirring the coffee with chopsticks using the vortex method, the only true way to optimize the taste of your coffee. At the molecular level. Good morning. Welcome to the Daybreak show. I am you-know-who. We'll get started, but first, coffee. Nice.
Nice. My God, that is the best coffee I've ever tasted.
Cafe Bustelo K-Cup with a little bit of cream. I am broadcasting from Florida, as I will be doing this for the next 2 weeks. I am with my family, and I'm currently staying at Tony Bruno's house, my brother. You see in the background his guitar cabinet there. And shotgun on the wall. And what's behind me? Oh, the little bar. Sitting at the breakfast bar this morning, just hanging out. Hey, listen, you know, I saw a manosphere guy with his girlfriend. Guy's 45, 46, with a girl in her early 20s, 21, 22 years old. And he forgot to edit or crop the picture because he's standing on his toes next to her. She's actually his height, but he had to stand on his toes to actually be taller than her. And I think he forgot to crop the picture. I'm not going to say his name because you probably watch the guy. I like the guy. I like the guy a lot. I really do. But cheese and crackers, man. Own your height. Own it. Short kings, own your height. All right, so you're 5'5", 5'6", then you find a woman who's 5 foot, 5'1", 5'2". If you insist on being taller than your woman, then find a woman that's shorter than you. All right? No need to have those kind of shoes or sneakers that make you 2 or 3 inches taller. No need to manipulate pictures. No need to faux hawk your hair to make you look 2 inches taller. Just own it, my brother. Own it. You don't need to do that. No one's going to judge you. You're so friggin' afraid. Men are afraid of what other men are going to say about them. Like guys who go, or they want other men to say something. Like, you get these guys that are on TRT. And basically, they're just dying for another man to say, sun's out, guns out. Ooh, look how swole you are. Stop it. I had to take that sweatshirt off. It is getting kind of warm here. This is on 2 milligrams nicotine pouches. I like On, and I like the Alp brand. This one is a 2 milligram pouch. Sharpens you right up. Take my word for it. Or on McIntyre says, what cover songs are so definitive that they steal the song from the original artist? I wouldn't say steal. He says Jimi Hendrix and All Along the Watchtower. First of all, I like Hendrix's version better than Bob Dylan's. Okay, Johnny Cash did Hurt, which I think is even better than the original. And my reply to that was Marilyn Manson singing Sweet Dreams, the Eurythmics song. As much as I like the Eurythmics, I absolutely love Marilyn Manson's version of it. Now, you probably never saw that coming, did you? Just a quick reminder that, for those that are new to me here, some of you are in a tough spot, and my hope is that you'll see or hear something that ignites a fire in you that cannot be put out. Something that flips a switch inside of you that makes you unrecognizable physically, mentally, and emotionally by this time next year. No more 30 days to this, 60 days to this. Give it a year. Give change a year. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing significant and permanent is going to happen in 30 or 60 days. Sure, can you change some habits? Yes, but habits over a long period of time. Give yourself some time. You did not get fat overnight. You know how you got fat? 1 ounce at a time. I was going to say 1 pound at a time, but 1 ounce at a time. How are you going to lose weight? 1 ounce at a time. Think about this. If you could step on a scale and it measured your weight in ounces versus pounds, just that little hack right there can give you more encouragement than you ever imagined. How many ounces do you need to lose a day or a week? Think about that. Something that's very doable, it's realistic, but give yourself a year to change. I don't care what age you are, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, I can help you. I had discovered a bump on my skin, the kind of thing that you would go to a dermatologist for. You know, it was like it was a little bit darker than the color of my skin, and it was like right here, right in front of my left ear, between my ear and the sideburns, okay? Now, I just rolled out of the sack, so if I look like I have bed head, bed face, and bed beard, it's because I do. I got a good 8 hours of sleep. That was, never underestimate the power of a good night's sleep. I'm telling you, it's great. Anyways, I put castor oil on it every night before I went to bed for 2 weeks. Just little dab, squeeze a little bit on your finger and rub it in. Rub it in. Go to sleep. Don't think about it. 2 weeks, gone. No sign of it, nothing, gone. So do you have like a little discoloration on your face? Do you have like a little bump, a mole, something like that? Before you go running to the dermatologist to get it zapped or frozen or cut off, try castor oil. Some people are calling it nature's Botox. I don't know. I don't see it removing wrinkles on me. I mean, you know, at this point in life, I own all my wrinkles. But as far as any lesions or anything else is concerned, castor oil has been absolutely magnificent for me. It disappeared. It's gone. No trace of it. Even with good insurance, it would cost me about $250 because insurance only covers about $150 for a procedure to cut something, freeze something, zap something. I remember I had something on my chest right here, little bump, went to the dermatologist, they froze it, okay? The copay was $40 because it's a specialist. All right, guess what? It came back in a year. It came back. And then I got a bill for $250 that the insurance didn't pay. So what did that 7-second treatment cost? $150 plus $250 plus $40. Come on, man. Seriously. Castor oil. I am convinced that it's miraculous. Alexander Dugan says, U.S. is not and never was an ally to Europe. It was its lord. Now lord is changing his mind. Stupid slave stubbornly refuses to correctly receive the order and continues to hallucinate as if previous lord were still here. Bad slave will be punished. Are you a fan of Alexander Dugan? I was turned on to him by Agnieszka. Some of you remember Agnieszka.
Welcome to the Daybreak Show. I am the Sultan. We'll get started, but first, coffee.
She probably would not want me to say that, but I have learned to really respect the guy. And some people, some naysayers have called him Putin's brain. I wouldn't quite call him that. But my response is Europe has always had a death wish. Every boundary is temporary and movable in Europe. They rearrange the furniture about every 75 to 80 years. And there's a reason why America is composed of, wait for it, European immigrants. The most stable life you will have is in America. Europe, a great place to visit. I just would never want to live there. And believe me, I've dated enough European women. I was a passport bro forever, and I know their families and was considered like a son and a brother to many of the families, and potentially a son-in-law. But I will tell you, I speak the truth when it comes to this, and many of my European followers will agree with that. One woman says, Queen Natalie, why should Muslim women have to cover up to stop men who can't control themselves? My reply is, modest dress is not limited to covering up. I enjoy a modestly dressed woman more than a hot woman. You know what's hot? Modesty. Brother, she can't take half your shit if you have nothing or you live a minimalist life. Women typically don't like minimalist men, boo-hoo, because they marry the lifestyle, not the man. Most, not all. Minimalist living and the table for one lifestyle is so underrated, my brother. I'm leading the charge of table for one. Even if I get married again, I will still have a table for one evening. Even though the two shall become one, I still enjoy going to a movie by myself, going out to dinner by myself. And it's a beautiful thing. Rivellino, that idiot on Twitter, the anonymous idiot on Twitter, the green line guy, you know, like if you're standing with your woman who's significantly shorter than you, and you got your arm around her and you're kind of going like this, he will make a green line like this with you, and with her a straight line. He'll say, you're standing in her frame. She's the boss of the relationship. You know what? I think it's a sign of affection if you're holding your girl tight and you're kind of like down with her like that, especially if she's shorter than you. But these idiots with zero receipts and experts in relationships, ignore them. He says, if you want more pussy, be more courageous. My reply is, in other words, if you want more sexually transmitted diseases, sloppy seconds, thirds, and tenths, personal heartbreak, a track record of hurting others, risking false allegations, and setting bad examples, just have more courage. Getting more vitamin P is not a badge of honor. I wish I got married at 20 and had 10 kids. That's my biggest regret. Every man wants a virgin, right? But backs off of that when he realizes that he had one with his first or second girlfriend at 13, 14, 15 years old. How many virgins have you had? The last time I had a virgin was when I was a virgin. For speakers and teachers, whoever you are, especially those who like to speak professionally, I will say this. Another way for teachers and speakers to get a message out is to act it. Maybe that is an angle that you never considered. Speakers and teachers are storytellers, and what better way to do it than to become someone else? Who do you love and admire in the history of your industry? Become them. And do a presentation, being them, maybe dressing in period garb, speaking like they spoke. That means you have to do a lot of reading to get into the mind of that person. Are you a fan of Hemingway? Become Hemingway. Are you a fan of Heinrich Hertz? Become him. Are you a fan of, just pick a name out of history, or someone in your industry that you respect and have grown from? I did a one-man play called Blue to Red, where I created a character who was left by his wife, went to a very dark place, and then literally overcame that and became a winner in the end. I could have spoke about that, but it made more of an impact when I became that man as an actor, and I portrayed him on stage. It was super, super risky, but I will tell you this, and I had no idea how the audience was going to receive this. The result, standing ovation and not a dry eye in the auditorium. Take a risk. Become someone else. Regarding chambers of commerce, yawn, they've always existed, and then someone creates visitmelbourne.com, visitphiladelphia.com. They create like an organization or a meetup, and then it does more for that area, country, city, town than any chamber of commerce has ever done. Funky specialty festivals, food festivals, music festivals, parades, restaurant weeks, fashion weeks, music days, etc. They bring in more money, get more PR, and encourage intercommerce more. The days of the stuffy, useless chamber and lame expos are over as far as I'm concerned. I will never join one ever again. I get more business from meetups, a good happy hour, or an internet meetup group. Any day of the week. So if you're in business, think about that. Little piece of trivia here. Do you remember the theme song to This Old House? You probably didn't know that the theme for This Old House is actually a song by Fats Waller, recorded in 1935. Look up the song called Louisiana Fairy Tale. Everything old becomes new, and everything new was once old. In 2010, I wrote an essay, actually for a newspaper, a column. I used to write for a newspaper. Global warming, and they changed it to climate change. Living a catastrophe-based life. If you don't do A, then you will get B. Then B is going to happen. And B is always extreme, isn't it? A is caused by humans or something to do with the government. A new industry being created out of thin air, and a few people get disgustingly rich. Get common people to believe it, then shame those that don't, and eventually get lawmakers to propose it. Sound familiar? It's all bullshit. Like when I read a dating profile, one woman said, "I'm doing my best." This is many, many years ago. "I'm doing my best to minimize my carbon footprint." That was in a woman's dating profile. My only reaction was, boy, I bet she'll be a blast to live with. More interesting trivia here. Remember Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies? Her name was Irene Ryan. She was an actress who came up with the character Granny when she was 18 years old. And she had been doing this as kind of a stand-up comedy routine. And we knew her as Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. Well, guess what? She was 60 years old when she portrayed Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. Isn't that amazing? Someone just walked in. I want you to say hello to him. Tony Bruno, everybody.
Hey.
We're doing the Daybreak show.
Nice.
Yeah, from the breakfast bar.
Nice.
Drinking some Cafe Bustelo,
Oh,
made
nice.
in a K-cup.
Nice. It's a chilly morning here in Florida.
Yeah, it's a little chilly, isn't it? A little shivery today, but this is nothing like what we've experienced up in Philly, but still, as I've been here for less than 24 hours, it is chilly. It is a little cold here. So you got Tony Bruno wearing his beanie there and long sleeve shirt. We're in Florida right now. So
It's about 50 degrees out.
yeah, for people who say, well, I like the seasons, let me tell you what, there's seasons in Florida. Now, if you go to South Beach, that's a different story. It's tropical year-round. But Central Florida has seasons like all the other states. Not as extreme, there's no snow, but the reality is that there are seasons here. And we actually had to put on the heat this morning. It was that chilly. It was crazy.
Yeah.
What's Tony Bruno doing today?
Oh, some work stuff. That's all. Doing a couple estimates
Estimates?
this afternoon.
What do you do for a living for my audience who doesn't know you?
I'm a remodeling contractor. All sorts of carpentry, trim, and I'm also a window and door contractor. Do impact windows and doors, which are hurricane windows and doors, and
Self-employed entrepreneur, correct?
pretty much
You call your own shots.
that's it.
Absolutely. You haven't worked for anyone in how many years?
30?
30 years. Would you go back to being an employee?
No.
So you fired your boss 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Would you ever go back?
No.
No? Why?
just I wouldn't. It's nice having control over your own finances and, you know.
Your own schedule and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're self-employed, people don't realize you actually, you know, you work at a job, you probably work 40 hours a week. When you're self-employed, you work 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
So my phone is never off, and I'm always doing something, whether I'm writing up an estimate or what have you.
Why is it rewarding for you?
I don't know. I'm just used to it. I enjoy it.
Yeah, something about people telling a grown man what to do just kind of rubs me the wrong way. You know, having a boss, a master, so to speak. Something I'm working on is I still work full-time hours, 5 days a week, and I'm getting that close to firing my bosses. So, yeah, definitely.
And you got to be good at what you do. I'm good at what I do.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. I like building things. I like creating things. I'm always proud of something after I finish it.
The before and after effect is amazing, isn't
Like
it?
right now I have 3 bathrooms remodels going.
Nice. The convergence of what you are good at, or I should say the intersection of what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, that is the sweet spot. Are you good at what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen a bad review. I've seen your work before and after, and it's quite amazing. What would you tell people who are thinking of going on their own? What would be some of the first steps? If they're already working like a job, 40 hours a week somewhere, what advice would you give someone if they want to start doing their own thing and they can't afford to just quit?
At least do it part-time. You know, in Florida here, there's a lot of licensing and regulations. I don't know what it is in other states. I know some states are more loose, but here you have to be licensed and to do all sorts of stuff. So I kind of stay in my zone, you know. And if I can't do something well, I won't do it. You know, and I also choose my customers. People think you can't do that. Yeah, you can. Recently, I, you know, looked at a job and I just wasn't. I'm like, I can't work for this lady. I just can't do it. So
you kind of pick and choose.
Yeah, and you might use a different excuse, but I've also had people that I've done work for wanted me to do work again, and I think the easiest thing to say is, rather than I don't want to work for you, I just say we're not a good fit. That's all.
I like that. Staying in your sweet spot. And your sweet spot also includes not begging for work. Yeah. Picking and choosing, curating your customer base. Yeah. Do you usually get repeat business from someone?
Probably 60-70% of my work is repeat business.
There you have it. So you're not advertising?
Never.
Why do you never advertise?
I don't have to.
You don't have to. That's a great place to be, isn't it?
Yeah. And people put reviews of my business up on different sites and things like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And the hardest ones are I call them the cold calls, where people just call you. They found some reviews on Google or something like that, and then it's almost like you have to sell yourself, which I don't like. That's why I like referrals.
Yeah.
So, and I'll say 90% of my work is from referrals. And then, like I said, 60% or more is from repeat customers. So,
that's a beautiful thing.
People don't want anybody else at their house.
Right.
So,
right.
That's it.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds
Carry
good.
on, Daybreakers.
All right. Awesome. Well, Michelle Obama has a god-awful podcast. It's the worst inhuman torture in recorded history. It's worse than you can imagine. Lionel, the guy that I follow, who's a radio talk show host, and just a brilliant, funny guy. He used to be in Philly. I don't know. He disappeared. I have no idea where he's at now, but I love his podcast. Lionel. He says, I'd rather suck a hospital mop than listen to 5 seconds of Michelle Obama. Sheer agony. My reply is, I'd rather clean a bathroom at Taco Bell than listen to Michelle Obama's Big Mike's podcast. Bethany on Twitter, a commercial real estate expert, says, I hate to break it to you bros, but the whole waking up before 5 o'clock, taking a cold shower, getting a ton done before everyone else wakes up, and skipping breakfast, That's what moms have been doing for years. My reply is, so you want a medal for being a mom?
Wake the fuck up.
That's what you're supposed to do. 80% of men who call themselves MGTOW didn't go their own way. They were sent their own way. Let's be honest. And I'll be the first to admit it. Happened to me more than I care to admit. Just remember, every man has a dry spell in his dating life. Things get a little bit better when you start thinking about dating with a purpose versus going out and slaying vitamin P. But every man has his dry spells. When it rains, it pours. When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. My brother, accept the not. Embrace the not. Or look in the mirror and your bank account and do what you can. One of the followers, who will remain anonymous, says, George, I hope you're doing well, brother. I just wanted to say thank you for the power twister recommendation. You know that spring thing that I've been talking about? 4 sets of 25, sandbag squats, carries, horse stance, and my usual calisthenics routine, and my strength has increased dramatically in the past 2 weeks. Stretching and flow drills. I don't know what a flow drill is. I got to look that up. What is a flow drill? Just put your answer down below. With a long sword or club, keep me limber, and I'm transforming into a force. Keep up what you're doing, George. You're a builder that trains other builders. My reply to that is one man at a time. That's how you change the world. One man at a time. Quick reminder that Drop Dead Faithful is always better than Drop Dead Gorgeous. You know that faithful 5 or 6 that you're looking at, but you're afraid to bring her home to your friends, to your mom and dad? Who gives a flying fork what other people think? Drop Dead Faithful. A faithful 5 or 6 is always better than a hot 8, 9, or 10. Always, always, always. I'm not knocking on Rolo, who I consider a friend. He says in the 10 years, well, he quotes Nick Krauser, a pickup expert. In 10 years, the seduction community has advanced our understanding of intersexual dynamics more than psychology or sociology has in the past 100 years. Nick Krauser says that. Psychology is still playing catch up to the red pill. I agree with that. But I also will say that there's no gayer phrase than the seduction community. Quick reminder to go ahead and spin plates. Just make sure that you are one of the plates. You know, you set up some dates, you're on a dating site, and a chick cancels for Friday night. You know, she basically took a better offer, so to speak. Okay? Your job, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is not to go back online and start swiping for love. Your job is to say, you know what? I get to go out and have table for one. Enjoy myself. Read a comic book. Have a nice meal. Get a good night's sleep and be able to get up early the next day without pulling blonde hair out of your hairbrush and having to wash your sheets and pillowcases. Little piece of historical trivia here. Did you know that C.S. Lewis, Aldous Huxley, and JFK all died on the same day, November 22nd, 1963? Coincidence? I don't know about that. HealthBot says, I will never trust anyone in the medical field ever again. They caused harm for money. They stayed silent while patients died. They made dance videos while patients suffered. They falsified notes in the charts of those who refused a jab. Never again, my brother, never again. You must be your own primary care physician. I love this line from Irene Ryan, who played Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies. She says, how do you like your possum, Lowell? Falling off the bones, tender, or with a little fight left in it? Great humor from the past. Just a quick warning, aspartame, also known as NutraSweet, you know, the blue packet of sweeteners that you see everywhere, is now being marketed as Amino Sweet. Same chemical, different name. It's all in the marketing. So now they're just changing the name of poison. I dated a gal who was hooked on diet sodas back when I was in my 20s. Every time she would have a Diet Pepsi, within 30 minutes, she became kind of like this premenstrual wreck of a woman. It changed her personality. Aspartame. An accepted sweetener by the Food and Drug Administration. I still say that regular Pepsi or Coke is better than anything with a sweetener in it. You need to build your credit. Get a card, a Capital One card, like I did. You buy a cup of coffee with it once a month, pay it off immediately. Within 1 year, you may have excellent credit. Take my word for it. I'll put a link for the Capital One credit card down below. You will get accepted. Your credit limit's only going to be $300 to start with. But like I said, don't blow it. Buy a cup of coffee with it once a month, pay it off immediately, have it taken out of your bank account or your debit card, and your credit will magically go up. Drive-by guitar lessons, a follower named Sean, he's an OG here. He says, I used to play guitar at a megachurch in Queen Creek, Arizona. It was no different than a bar. And this is a guy that gigs in bars all the time. Very talented guy. It's so funny, he actually did an opening to, my Stirring the Coffee with Chopsticks opening. He actually wrote a song about that, and that tune is still in my head. Brilliant guy. Instead of women dressed scantily coming up to you and saying, oh my God, you're so hot, in churches they come up to you in the same clothes and say, oh my God, I love your ministry. Mega churches. Protestantism. Here's a free-form poem. I come from the free-form poetry era. Some people, I guess back in the 80s and 90s, they would call them like poetry slams, that kind of thing. But there was like a lot of free-form poetry in the 60s and 70s. I'll read you my latest poem. No one cheats more than a woman with male friends. Avoid, my brother. There's always another. Just a friend and just a coworker has broken up more relationships and marriages than anyone else. Avoid, my brother. There's always another. A woman's male friends are often just her waiting list. Avoid, my brother. There's always another. She tells you we're just friends, but he's just waiting for his shot. Avoid, my brother. There's always another. Male friends are her backup plan. Avoid, my brother. There's always another. If she didn't choose you in her prime, don't save her in her decline. Avoid, my brother. There's always another. But if she calls you brother, dude, or friend, just know you are close to the end. Dear Son on X, formerly known as Twitter, says, to all men who have managed to conquer lust, please share your secret. My reply is, become 60 years old. That cures most of it right there. I commented on Beyonce doing country music and said it was a scam. A black friend of mine, who I respect, who I've known for 6 years now, he made a comment and I replied. And here's the two comments. He says, country music is a style of music as well as its own genre. Just like classical music, hip-hop, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, artists have been crisscrossing boundaries for years. Run DMC did it with Aerosmith, with Walk This Way, and it was considered both a rap record and accepted in both genres. There are countless other artists that have done the same in other genres as well. Let's just really address the elephant in the room, which is people are just pure racist at heart and hate the fact that another black person is succeeding in an area that white people normally dominate. With all respect to my friend, and believe me, I like the guy, he's a friend, and I trust him. My reply is, nah, not true. I look at Hootie, as in Hootie and the Blowfish. The dude went from pop to country, and nobody blinked an eye because he's talented. One of the greatest country music singers is Charlie Pride, a black man. Pure country. Nobody gave a crap if he was black or white, just pure talent. Same thing with Jimi Hendrix. In an era when the OJs, Marvin Gaye, Teddy Pendergrass were cooking, he literally owned rock music because of talent. Race disappears in the presence of talent. No one ever called him a great black guitarist. He was simply a great guitarist. And the whitest of whiteys agree. And the beigest of beige men will agree with that. In the beginning of the 20th century, Bolsheviks killed more than 60 million people. But you're not supposed to know that, are you? I wanted to see if ChatGPT knows me. This is ChatGPT's answer. You've been a significant figure in the manosphere with over 1 million followers across all your social media platforms, particularly through your interviews, coaching, and content creation. You work in the manosphere. The manosphere put you in front of many well-known figures in the space, and you've interviewed controversial and influential personalities like Stefan Molyneux, Mike Cernovich, Rollo Tomassi, and Rich Cooper. Your coaching focuses on helping men, even those dealing with divorce and crisis. You help them to develop emotional discipline and rebuild their lives. Even though you've shifted towards expanding your business beyond the manosphere, your impact remains, especially through your YouTube and social media presence, where you continue to provide guidance for men looking to improve their lives. You know what? I like AI right now. And with that, finish your coffee, and I'll see you on the next Daybreak show, the only home of sanity, clarity, and reason.